This is what I grew up hoping I'd get one day. And this is the mighty E46 BMW.
How's it going, everyone? Today we have got a
BMW E46 330 Ci convertible.
So yeah, let's get into it. So what are the specs of this car?
This is a 2005 330 Ci with an automatic gearbox, and it's a convertible. Arguably my favorite spec.
It's a good choice, and especially in this black.
Oh yeah, black on black.
Black on black.
Such a hard thing to get a hold of.
I know you do not see many of this spec.
Black roof, black exterior, black interior, 330 straight six. Glorious, glorious car.
And automatic gearbox.
Yep, even better in my opinion. Even though a lot of people think the automatic's not great, I think there's many reasons to love it. Listen to the burble. That sounds so good. Not sure if they can make it out on the camera. You reckon they could?
Well, I hope you can hear it on camera, but it's
really good.
There's a burble in the background. It's very nice. Almost sounds like thunder.
It does.
So how rare is this E46?
Well, I'm going to spin that question back on you, Connor. When last did you actually see an E46?
That is a very good point. I don't think I have.
You don't see them as often as you used to. Many years ago, you'd see them, they were a dime a dozen. But these days, they've become a lot more rare, and they've most likely all been abused. A lot of them are either rotten away, because they do love to rust these cars, and they've been taken to drift yards, and they've just been abused. But seeing one of these here in such good condition, with no rust, might I add, 90,000 miles, and in such a lovely spec, I think it's pretty much like hen's teeth. Pretty good. The thing is, you can have a lot of fun with it. Like it does have power, but it doesn't have crazy power. You're only looking at about 200 horsepower, so it's about 7.5 seconds to 60.
Yeah.
So it means you can have a bit of fun. You can enjoy the lovely note of the car without even having to be going crazy.
Oh yeah, it's not scary amounts of power. Now, what is the spec of the engine?
This is a 330 petrol, which means it has roughly around 230 horsepower. It's not going to be the quickest thing in the world, but this is the convertible, which does make it heavier and a little slower. Also, it is automatic. So the 0 to 60 in this is around 7.5 seconds, which is around 0.7 seconds slower than the coupe or, non-convertible variant of this car here. But I mean, that really doesn't matter when you're having this kind of fun. You can have the roof down, you can hear the car, you feel it a lot more. And I mean, it's hard to beat the really, really good weight distribution, and this car drives incredibly well.
It's a very smooth power delivery.
It is. They're known for their really, really straight power curve.
And what is the gearbox in it?
It is just the automatic gearbox, which is, according to a lot of people, the less desirable version. A lot of people would prefer the manuals. Yeah. Now, for me, I have had an E46 manual. Granted, it wasn't a 330. Manual was fantastic. I have no problems with it, no complaints. But something about having an automatic where you can just cruise and relax without even having to think about gears is fantastic. I must say, it does shift a little early sometimes, and it is a little more laggy, but in 99% of driving, you can have a hell of a lot of fun.
Fun fact, did you know BMW have never made a V6?
Oh, really?
They've only ever made straight sixes. That's
really
why.
Bad 4-cylinders too. I used to have an E46 many years ago. It was an Imola red, very rare, 318 Ci, which was a 2-litre 4-cylinder, which was the engine that kind of made BMW known as unreliable. And I definitely had that experience of it being incredibly unreliable.
So what are some other specs of this BMW?
Well, whoever spec'd this car originally actually spec'd it really, really highly. Now, I know in the States you didn't get the automatic wing mirrors, so these wing mirrors will actually fold up. That is one of the quirks in this car, or no, the quirks is one of the specs. It also has heated seats in the front. Obviously it's the convertible. It has the top spec radio with navigation and TV, which actually surprisingly still works, even though I was heard that actually supposedly stopped working a few years ago. But the service is still available and you can still watch it. You have the Harman Kardon audio system, the electric seats with memory seats, so you got 3 different memory options. You have cruise control, you have your music on the steering wheel. This is also the M Sport package. or the Sport package. I think in the next generation they started calling it the M Sport, but that's basically the more aggressive styling, more M3 looking kind of vehicle, which I think has made this car age really, really well. You may think, why is this better than the M3? Well, first of all, it's more reliable. Yes, you have a little less horsepower, cheaper for insurance if you were doing that there. Obviously, you can get one for a lot cheaper than an M3. And personally, I do prefer the look of these over the M3. I don't think they're as jumpy out at you, but I do much prefer the M3 exhaust system and noise.
And what other modifications have been made to it?
Okay, so this car has been slightly lowered. I'm not a huge fan of lowered cars, but it's been lowered to a point where it looks more M3-like than raking about, as in like really, really low and, in my opinion, awful looking.
It looks tastefully done.
It looks tastefully done. It also has different alloys. Now, I know I mentioned this car has automatic headlights. They have been changed, and there are new headlights, which means the automatic function no longer works. But you do have the upgraded headlights as well.
And has it been de-chromed?
I think it has, actually. The front grille is a black, which, as someone has mentioned before, it looks almost Darth Vader-like, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the way it is. But it has been blacked out partially. Some of the indicators, so like the side on the wing, that's been blacked out. It's no longer like a clear plastic or orange. It's black. So yeah.
Would you describe it that it handles like it's on rails?
Yeah, it does. It handles really well. I would say this actually handles better than my Tesla Model 3 Performance. Definitely better than the E430.
Yeah.
That's just the boat. But it handles really well. It's almost like the Corsa VXR.
Yes, exactly.
It handles better. It's more confident.
What would be the history on the car?
I don't know a huge amount on the history, but the car has had 5 owners. It is at 90,000 miles, just passed MOT a few days ago. And it's done mere 1,000 or 2,000 miles over the last few years, so it's really not been driven much, and it's a really, really clean example. Whoever's had this car before the current owner has definitely looked after really, really nicely, and I know this car does get detailed very often, and you can just tell by how clean the engine bay is and how tidy the car is as well. I wish it had a bit more of a pull.
I mean, it's okay, but like 230 horse, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Heavy.
It's because of the convertible and the extra bits and bobs, it is quite heavy.
It's a lot heavier, yeah.
So, but then you get the extra creature comfort, so it's a hard battle to play. So what generation of E46 is this?
This is the facelifted version. So this is actually one of the last ones to be made. I think this was made in June 2005, so it's coming to the end of the production run. These were made up until the new generation came out. Yeah. So you could actually buy one of these brand new in convertibles when the latest generation, I think it was the E90 generation, had actually come out, because they hadn't started manufacturing the convertibles at that point in time. Now I know this is 2005. The E40 or E90 came out in 2006, I believe it is. But yeah, really, really aged well. And I'm not a huge fan of the previous, pre-facelift version. They had a very sad eyes, in my opinion, or sad headlights. And I think these have definitely aged really well as having that M Sport bumper kit. Really makes this car actually look very, very modern. So the question is, would this be a good car for road trips?
I would think so. The boot is spacious enough.
It is, yeah.
Like you say, heated seats, it's got all the nice amenities.
Yeah.
I think it could be definitely used as a long trip
it's
car.
More like a Grand Touring car than a sports car, if you want to look at it that way there. It definitely handles remarkably well, and it will go very well. But it's more of a Grand Touring car where you have yourself and 3 other friends. This is a 4-seater, if you're not aware of that. It is not a 5-seater like the coupes.
Yeah. Are there any major differences between the convertible and the coupe?
Yeah, there is. Obviously, the convertible is going to have no roof, which means it needs to be stiffened. So this actual body of this car has been stiffened, which should help with the scuttle shake. It's basically just a bit of flex whenever you're driving. Should limit that at least. As well as the fact that the convertibles were actually slightly longer to help accommodate the rear roof mechanism, as well as storage space. So yeah, these are actually slightly longer and they are heavier. So if you do get one of these here and you're going to race your friend who has a coupe, yes, you may have the same engine and theoretically the same car, but these are heavier and these are slightly longer, So you're not going to be quite as quick. I think it's around 0.7 of a second slower to 60, around 7.5 seconds compared to about 6.8, 6.5 seconds to 60 on a coupe or sedan. But you know, I think that's a sacrifice me personally I'd be willing to have for something like this.
For being a convertible, it's very direct.
Yeah. So the previous BMW generation, this was the E46. This here, I think it's 30 or 40% more rigid than the previous E36. Now this also does have a front strut brace, which helps also with the rigidity and reduces the scuttle shake. You know, obviously it's never going to be as fun as a coupe or a sedan in the sense of track days, but having the roof off, you can have a lot more fun, in my opinion.
So what are some of the quirks and features of this car?
Well, let's start off with that amazing convertible feature.
Yes.
You can open that 3 different ways. You can open it from inside the car while the engine's running or the engine's off via the controls in front of the gear selector. You can also use the key fob remotely to do that there by locking and unlocking the car, as well as if you put the key in the door itself, you can open and close it that way as well. So that's a cool quirk. Now the other cool quirk of this car here is the wing mirrors actually don't just fold inwards, they fold up like a Lamborghini's doors almost. You have the display in the front, which is the, you know, where you can watch your TV and it's got your fuel consumption. That actually has the CD player, and the screen actually moves out and moves back in.
Very cool.
Which is quite a cool feature.
Yes.
You have the full leather, you have the rear seats, which is awesome as well. If you need to get in the rear seats, you can pull the little lever up, fold the seat forward, and you can move the seat electrically forward. Now, just got to remember, if your headrest's up when it folds forward, you could possibly hit the roof with the headrest, so it'll automatically lower your headrest, move the seat forward, and when you bring the seat back, it'll remember the position you were in, which is really, really handy feature. You have the 6 CD changer in the boot, as well as navigation and DVD CDs in the rear. So if you do want to watch TV, or you want to watch a video that you've filmed, or you bought yourself a DVD, you can do that there. You also have in the rear of the boot, whenever you have the roof up, not in the current place it is now, you can actually fold where it goes into, open, allowing you a lot more space. You have a spare tire, as well as probably the coolest feature ever, the lovely 6-cylinder engine.
The best, the reason that this car,
The reason why you would want to buy one of these.
Exactly.
The 3-litre straight 6.
Sounds so good.
It does.
I would say this is more fun than the MX-5.
Would you? Huh? I don't know. The smallness and the lightness of an MX-5 is quite nice. I like.
BMW. I think this you got a bit of both because it handles really, really well. But you've also got a bit of more power, well, a good bit more power than the MX-5, so you can do more spirited driving on longer stretches of road.
Being a convertible, you might think there's actually no space for your skis, but BMW thought of that there. So between your rear seats and between the boot, you can actually open up a ski pass-through. Now, do remember, there was actually a subwoofer in this car in the ski pass-through area, which helps it sound really, really good as well.
Yeah, no, it's a really good sound system.
A really cool quirk of this car here is actually the driver and passenger seat headrests. They are actually cantilevered, so that you don't have the 2 bars in the middle of them. It's all done off the one side of it.
Interesting.
So you can put your hand in underneath it, and you'll be able to still lower and raise it. It's really, really unique. I saw it and I was like, hold on, is my eyes playing tricks on me? It looks like it's just floating in midair.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it is. It's pretty cool. One last and final quirk is the rear headrests. There actually is no rear roll cage in this car, so if you ever were to roll it, you would possibly think you'd be decapitated. But there are bars that will shoot out from the headrest at the rear to, you know, obviously help reduce that issue. So that's just one thing to be aware of. So if you ever do have one of these here, don't put anything on the rear headrests. Didn't mean that. Whoops. Slides nicely.
It does sound really nicely.
That
Wow.
was not intentional.
Now it's time to rate the car. So for Future Classic, we've given it an 8. For Daily, we've given it a 5.5. For Wallet Hurt, we've given it a 5. And for Fun, we've given it another 8. So the total is 26.5 out of 40, which is 66.25%. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow our vlog and podcast channel, link in the description, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Let me just say one thing really quickly. See everyone that said that these sort of cars, it's hard to fit in the back? They're wrong. We're 6'2" and we can fit in the back. Granted, our knees do touch and we kind of have to man spread a bit. We fit in fine. And we're not in pain. It's not as bad as everyone's always said it is.
It's not something you want to do 1,000 miles in, but you could happily do an hour or two of driving without stopping.
Yeah.
And be comfortable enough. But actually, thinking about it, when you do sit in the rear, you do sit actually at an angle.
That is very true.
That is one thing I have noticed.
Yeah, no, interesting.